So welcome everyone to the first session of the NERSA Region 5, 6, and Canada Virtual Student Lead-On. Woo! Super exciting. We're super happy to have you guys here with us today. So we're just gonna go over a few different housekeeping rules before we get started. First of all, this session is being recorded for reference, and it will be available to everyone on our YouTube page afterwards. We will send you out the link for that. Okay. Please keep your microphones on mute unless the presenter is doing something that they want you to engage in or asking questions, just so that we don't have a lot of the static and side chatter. And questions and comments, you can use the chat section. We will be monitoring it. Otherwise, again, unless the presenter wants you during the presentation, try to keep them for the end, as we will have like a 10-minute question period. So now to introduce our three presenters. So we have Burke Bayshard as the first one. Burke was the Griffin Camps Director for the summer of 2020. She is currently studying psychology and sociology, and is also the captain of the Guelph Varsity women's basketball team. We also have Alex Holverson, yes. She is one of the program directors for Griffin's Camps and is studying biomedical engineering. And third, we have Kevin Linder. He is the Active Kids Coordinator at the University of Guelph. He is a Recreation and Leisure Studies graduate from the University of Waterloo and has 29 years experience working in a variety of camping and recreational events. So give a little emoji round of applause for our presenters today. And we also would love if you guys have your cameras on. It's great to see a face when they're presenting. So we encourage you to keep your cameras on if possible. Thanks.
All right, thanks everyone. Thanks Ross for inviting us here. So my name's Kevin and I will start us off here. I am going to share our screen so you can actually see the PowerPoint show here that we have for you. But as mentioned, the title here is Engaging and Connecting with Youth Virtually. So using our Griffin Clubhouse from this past summer as a kind of a piece to this. I do want to put out too that unfortunately, due to work commitments, Elizabeth couldn't be with us, but she was part of the team this past summer that also helped out with the development of this. So she's helped out in the information. So the first thing we're going to do though, is that I want us to get a little bit active because it's first thing in the morning, maybe for some of us, or we've been doing that. So we're gonna get moving around, have a little fun celebration and everything that do. So the first thing is I want everyone is, for this activity though, is it is best is if everyone can put on their screen, turn on their cameras so we can see you, because we kind of need this to bring some laughter, okay? So I want everyone to make their hands like this. All right, so you're pointing at the camera here with your hands. Now, what I want you to do is to turn your hands left, whatever left is to you, okay? So on the count of three, go left, left. Fantastic. All right, then bring it back and reset, and now try right. All right, this is great. So then bring it back. It's great. You all know your left and your right, so I'm very impressed. This is awesome. Fantastic. So what's gonna happen now is we're gonna read a story, and I'm gonna read this story to you. And whenever I say left, I want you to turn your hands left. If I say right, I want you to turn your hands right. After each time though, reset your hands to the middle. Sound good? Just give me a thumbs up if you're all set then. All right, fantastic. All right, here we go for the lovely story that we have. So it goes like this. I left my house and was on my way to Lucy Left's house. But I left the directions at home right by the phone. I knew right away that I needed to have the right directions to Lucy Left's house. So I turned left and I turned right and made my way back to my house for the right directions. Sure enough, they were there right where I had left them, right next to the phone. Sorry, I'm just gonna stop sharing my screen there so we can all see each other. Finally, I was on the right track. I arrived right on time and set up my display right over there. You all arrived and sat right down. I'll get right to work and tell you all about our wonderful company, hostess program, and income opportunity. I hope nothing will be left out. If you left home with the intention of shopping for gifts tonight, remember we have the right gift for everyone. Review your shopping list. We wouldn't want anyone to be left out. We have just the right gifts for birthdays, anniversaries, and special occasions. If you'd like to be a hostess and earn lots of free merchandise, or if this is the right time for you to explore joining as a consultant, please talk to me right after the demonstration. I'm glad to be here and I hope that you will have fun. I know you can't wait to see if we have just the right item you have been looking for. And so without further delay, I will get right to the point of this demonstration, which is showing you our fabulous products. So there is really nothing left for me to do now except to congratulate the winner, right? All right, so hopefully you have some energy now. Now it woke you up a little bit. The other thing is because we are all together here and we are all part of a team here for NERSA Student Lead On, keep your cameras on. But what I want to do is I want to celebrate all together. So this is a great way that we can get out of this box here and celebrate. I want everyone to put their hands up like this. Fantastic. Turn them this way. Fantastic. Everyone's doing great. And we're going to give each other high fives for being part of this conference here. So give everyone high fives here. Fantastic. So especially if you're watching this on the grid view, you can see everyone giving high fives. You're doing a great job and that's awesome. So thank you very much for everyone participating with that. And now we're going to continue on, but hopefully now you feel a little more alive and awake and ready to rock and roll, because in the summertime, we had our youth signing on to this program at 9 a.m. in the morning in the summer. And so it was all about getting their energy up. So I'm going to just talk a little bit about about what our Griffin Clubhouse was. So what we did in the summer is that we created a week-long program that replaced our summer camp because we couldn't do it in person. So what we did is we created this program, and what it was is every morning kids would have, age groups would have a certain time to log in, and we had a set program designed for them that was very engaging and all inclusive. And they were online with us from an hour to about an hour and 15 minutes, uninterrupted, no stopping. And they did that for 5 days straight for the whole week. And that was our program that we did. And the purpose that we had was, one, we wanted to create joy for all those campers. And two, keep social connections happening and allow conversations to happen. But, and three, just to have some fun, okay? So this is kind of the pre-program clubhouse that I like to say, because without doing these pre-program opportunities, we wouldn't be able to actually have a successful and engaging program online. So the number one thing that we did is our program descriptions. We ensured they were very exciting and nothing was hidden. There was no surprises for anyone coming to the program. They knew what they were getting. They knew we were going to be online. They knew that there was going to be interactions, all those kinds of things. It was so important to have that information out front to the parents and the children. We had a Clubhouse newsletter. So again, more details about what to expect every day. Every day was a surprise. We also had an internet safety contract. So for us to have engagement, we needed that. And our safety contract, I can share it later on, but it was actually drawn up like this so the families could actually read it with their campers, sign off on it, and they understood it. And one of those things is that by doing that is it ensured everyone was safe and really understood what the program was. The biggest thing that we had though we had adventure kits. And these adventure kits were phenomenal and what really brought out the engagement. And Burke and Alex will go more in detail about how that all worked too. But preparation is the key, sorry. We must plan for all surprises. We can't just pull things out of a hat because we had to make sure that the campers and that had that on their end too. So everything that we did was very purposeful, very much on target, and very much that we had to ensure that they had everything that they needed so they could be engaged and not frustrated. And that was the key, no frustration within the program. And then as you can see in the photo there, we had to pick up or we dropped them off, the kits. So when I saw the campers there, you can see we had our camp sign there and we greeted them. We were excited to see them. They were excited to see us. It was really cool to have that interaction. Sometimes I dropped off the kids at their homes also, but we pumped them up and got them excited. And the other thing that we did that was a huge success is that they couldn't open the kits till the first day with us in person. So they couldn't open it the day before. So there was that anticipation, like right now with Christmas and everything in the holiday season, there's that anticipation that we had. So this is what our Clubhouse adventure packs look like. So it gives you an idea as to see what did we all pack. So as you can see, we had these nice little drawstring bags, all right? And we used that to pack our bags because then the campers also got to keep that. But each theme, everything had different bags, different things in there. And we included that in our pricing, but it was because of this, though, that we could do so much. You can see where there's the older kids programs here with the teamwork and team play cards. We actually did our counselor and training program over this program that was hugely successful. And they actually even ran Clubhouse programs for free later in the summer for us too. But you can see in the bottom here with the pails, that was our youngest kids program that Burke was running on the first week. And it was just amazing. Like you can see how much went into it. So when a child got that package, it was like, whoa, this is amazing. So excited. And they didn't know what anything was because we were going to go through it together as a group. So that pre-program was what was very, very much a key element to things. So this is all beforehand. And this is how we got the excitement going and the idea of community and everything along those lines. And then it went to the online component, which Burke is going to now share with you and talk to you about.
Thanks, Kev. Yeah, so actually before we get started, usually what I do, just like Ross did today, is I go through a couple housekeeping things with the kids because Zoom is different for every kid. And some parents don't know what they're doing either on Zoom. So going through everything, especially with young kids, is important to make sure they're on the gallery view. And we really encourage the cameras to be on because we want to make sure they're safe at the same time. Also, I always have like readily handled just like phone numbers and stuff like that in case I do see something in the camera. I'm ready to call that parent, their emergency contact, as soon as something does happen or as soon as their camera does go off. Like Kevin would normally contact them and just say, hey, like their camera's off, just want to make sure everything's okay. It just doesn't hurt to make sure that they know we want their kid to be safe as well, because it's hard because we can't get to them. So it's very different and it's a very different perspective, but I think we really handled it well this summer and I think it was really successful. So before we get started, or before I go on, just gonna play a quick game that I always play with the kids just to get them excited, to get them like kind of warmed up and talking. So I usually just give them like 30 seconds and they just go find an item in their house. So if you guys want to, I would encourage you to just to go grab an item, something close by, something that has any importance or any meaning at all to you. Just grab it, come back, and then we usually, to explain a question or ask a question, we put our thumbs on our forehead just to make the kids do something different than just raising their hand like in class. Like it says this is the way they answer their question or ask a question, just to keep them more engaged and having a good time. So if everyone wants to go grab an item, and then run back. And if you don't want to share, you don't have to. I just really encourage you to. So yeah, go ahead.
Bert, are you able to take it off presentation view so we can see everyone in gallery with their items?
I can't. Kevin has to do that.
Oh, Kev.
There we go. Awesome. Okay, so I'll go first just to super easy. So as you guys know, I play on the basketball team, so I grabbed my basketball shoe. This is something that's really important to me because it's my other family here at Guelph, and it's just something that I love to do, and it really makes me happy. Does someone else want to go? You can put your thumb on your forehead. Ross, go ahead.
So I brought my my desk clock. So this is important to me because it has like my undergraduate school, Wilfrid Laurier University, on it. And it's like a tradition for us to, when you graduate from university, I guess, in my family, to get a desk clock. So this is mine that my uncle gave me, and his uncle gave him one, etc.
Awesome, cool. Thank you for sharing. Does anyone else want to turn? Andrea, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I have my wallet with me. It has all my IDs. I actually lost it temporarily once, like a few weeks ago, and I never realized, like, I was thinking like, oh man, how do I replace everything? So like, that's pretty important.
No, yeah, awesome. For sure, I lose stuff all the time. That's one thing you really need to have. Alex, do you want to go ahead? I see you have your kitten.
This is my cat Patches. She's being grumpy with me right now. But I actually, when I was away at university, I found her abandoned in a box in a park. And I brought her home, and she is now like my best friend, except for today. She doesn't like me today. Every other day she likes me though. But yeah, she's super important to me. She goes everywhere with me. We've gone camping and road trips and done a lot. So she's my adventure kitty.
Awesome. Does anyone else want to go? You don't have to. Just no? Okay, that's okay. Then I'm just going to continue on. But this is something I usually do and try and encourage every kid to do it so that they at least feel comfortable talking for the first time, because it's really that first conversation that really you either catch the kid's attention or you don't. And that's really important because I want it to be something they are really passionate about. So often kids get like their costume around Halloween, like I was getting everything, or their candy, their bucket of candy. It was awesome. And it's just something important that I want to keep that connection. Great. So for this first slide, so just about being prepared, just the first point, having everything ready and prepared is so important because you can't just leave the screen. So if I'm just on with the kids and Kevin's just kind of in the background, I don't want to leave the screen and run away and then the kids not know what's going on. Just having everything ready and with you is important, and also being ready for each game. So to interact with the kids, a game I like to play is reverse charades. So it was the easiest game to play because normally when you play charades, one person acts out and everyone's yelling, but with the way Zoom works, only one person talking is kind of the best option. So what happens is one kid will put their head down and I'll show a picture, and then everyone acts it out. That way more kids are engaged in an actual activity, and then one person's guessing. So it's kind of like the opposite, which is kind of different, but then these more kids are moving and more kids are engaged in it. And like kids get really creative with how they act things out. So it always makes them laugh and again, makes them more comfortable. So excited to get yourself excited. 9 a.m. in the morning was not the best, I will not lie. It is something different, but I'm a very happy person, so I just usually give myself some me time. So I usually wake up an hour ahead of time so I can eat breakfast, take my time, do something that I want to do, like I'll go work out, or I'll just watch like an episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like something just to make me happy. And then that way just like we'll just flow into it. And then you have to want to be there and you have to have that excitement or you really will lose kids. So you definitely have to really give your effort there just to keep them always engaged. So then, and when including everyone in a large group, it's different because you don't want to call upon kids because some kids get uncomfortable. So you have to really like, I use this all the time, like, oh, do you want to share? If not, just give me a thumbs down next time. Like I just try and always ask each kid, but not to put the pressure on them because then they'll want to turn off the camera and just leave the screen. And we don't want that because then it kind of just doesn't go well. So just including everyone and making sure everyone's present is really important. And then my emotions. So I always overreact my emotions, as you can probably already tell. I get really excited just so that the kids are like, okay, yeah, I want to listen because I'm so excited. They're like, oh, something good's coming. It really catches their attention. Like if I just talk in a monotone voice, it probably sounds like their teacher and they probably just want to leave. And this is supposed to be their break. This is like their clubhouse, like where they have a good time. So just through my voice and my actions and everything, I talk with my hands because then they like always are like, ooh. There's just little things like that. Like for the young kids, it really, really makes a difference. Especially with the youth, only using one app is also very important because kids are not that tech savvy and I don't want their parents to have to be on with them the whole time. So even for the younger kids, I don't even usually use an app at all. I usually just prepare games. I find that easier because then they don't have to go to a new screen, anything like that. Just doesn't work well with them. But with the older kids, like Kahoot, it only works if everyone knows what they're doing. So it's really got to feel it out on the first day. And if it works, great, because kids love Kahoots. Don't know why, because we do that for school and they suck. But kids love them when they have to do with Disney and stuff like that. So that's awesome. But for young kids, you really just have to prepare just straight up games. With that, preparing your games isn't always the best because you want to have a lot of games. So for juniors, I usually switch up the game every 3 to 5 minutes because otherwise you start to lose kids. And in an hour, that's a lot of games. That's at least 10 games. But you also don't want the whole time to be explaining the game and getting into it. Like you want them. So in that first day, I really pick like, I'll do 10 games and see which ones really are key. And that's what I use later on in the week. So I don't have to keep explaining them. I try and keep them the same, but I try and like change it up and add like a new thing. So I usually have like 8 to 10 games planned for that day. And then I also have additional like 5 to 10 just in case one doesn't work. And then that way, activities are always changing, so they always have to be engaged if they want to participate. And usually kids want to participate because as soon as there's a competition, they're all in, just like me. So yes, so then having your own materials to make sure you have everything in your kit is like so much easier to explain. So if the kids all have a kit, and I was in Chatham this summer, so I didn't have the actual kit, so I had to go out and buy like similar things and stuff like that, because when explaining, kids do not understand what you're talking about if you're just using your words. You really got to physically show them, especially at that younger age. So having the kits or having something similar to show them, or if I didn't have it, Kevin would hop on with me and make sure he was explaining it, to physically see it and like actually do it with them step by step is really important, especially through the first couple weeks, or the first couple days. So then being creative and always having new ideas ready. So kids will get bored. So I always make games very theme based. So even if it's something as easy as Simon Says, if it's Disney week, I will have someone pick their favorite Disney character and it's now Cinderella Says, it's now this says, and then you just do things that kind of go with that character to keep them engaged and keep it different. You don't want repetition all the time because then they just clock out. And then watching the time. So not allowing activities to go too long. Now, if you get juniors to pay attention for longer than 5 minutes, kudos to you, because they don't normally. Different games like will click with them, and maybe we can last 5 minutes. But other than that, usually 1 or 2 kids don't like the game on average. So then you want to switch it up so that the game to that they're engaged in. And then hopefully everyone just kind of gets together. Also, if you find certain kids aren't engaged, which does very much happen, and they just want to sit there and they like to watch. Some people just like to sit there. Usually asking like what games they want, maybe coming up with a new idea if you can't do it over virtually, like doing something similar or the same idea, just so you get them engaged, because it's really hard and really it's kind of upsetting to see a kid just sitting there not wanting to participate. Like I want to make that kid happy. I want this to be their outlet. I want them to have a good time. So really finding that game and what really engages them is really important. Can you go to the next slide, Kev? Thanks. Okay, so this is something I do with juniors the most often because they love watching this wheel turn, just the colors, just everything. It really gets them engaged. So I'll share my screen with them and they'll be able to see it going. And I use so many different things with it. So I do things like scavenger hunts with it. So I usually have like colors on it. So I'll have like red, blue, green, black, purple, and the wheel will spin and they have to go find something in their house that's that color. And they love it. They come up with the craziest things. Like usually you could just grab a pencil, but they go grab a big teddy bear. It's like their favorite thing that's that color, and they just get so excited about it. The one key thing is keep parents happy. Make sure when they go get the new thing, they put the old thing back. That's something I always make sure to say, because otherwise at the computer, there's just a stack of stuff and then parents might not be too happy with the mess. So for this example right here, this is something just to get kids a little more active. If I see they're kind of dozing off, or doing something like a craft or something, or if we're just like talking a lot, we do something similar like this. So it says heads or wings. So usually these are actions. So head, you just tap your head. For wings, you flap your arms. So normally kids will just get a chance to pick, and I'm like, which one do you think it is? Heads or wings? It's a competition. And so they have to try and like guess which one it's going to be, and they have to do that action by guessing. Now make sure you tell the kids they can't switch, because otherwise you'll get kids doing, so that they can do whatever one they want because they'll be right. So Kev, do we want to do this one, please? So Kev's going to share a screen. And you just act it out and you get to pick it. So with older kids, I'll actually get them to like if they're out, I'll get them to like sit to the left of their screen just to show that they're out or something like that, because usually we keep it going and make it a competition. So everyone can just pick something right now, head or wings, your choice, and you just pick it, and then Kevin will spin the wheel, and then whatever one it lands on is the winner. So if you're flapping your wings and it's heads, that means you're out. Kev, we're out. Darn. Okay, so wings are the winner. So normally I'll have kids just sit to the one side of their screen if they're out, and then the other kids will keep going. And then again, now you guess heads or wings again, and it just keeps happening. Kids really like it. I even do counselors, so it'll be Burke, Kev versus Alex, and it'll be all three of us will be on there, and then just do an action that someone always does. Like Kevin's always smiling, so this could be Kevin's, like, and something like that. Or mine could be shooting a basketball like this, like just like something simple and a little action, and it just gets them engaged, and it's in like a little bit of a competition, so all kids are all for it. So yeah, I use several different things with the wheel of names. It's a very handy thing to have. It's free. You can save them on there without even having an account. It's really convenient, and kids just love it. They just love it. Awesome. So Kev, could we go to the next slide? Thanks. So the next slide is going to be kind of what we put in their packages for like actual like paper, physical things to have. So these are just certain things that will be based on different themes. So the Catch Them All was for it's a Bug's Life theme, and we just discovered those are probably dominoes at the bottom, but we didn't do dominoes. We actually gave the kids dice and gave them 2 dice, and they had to roll the dice and try and catch each animal. So that way, if you catch them all, which I think we're right, I think it's dice, but they'll do it on their screen and they'll roll it and be like, okay, I caught the ant, and like kids get so excited because then they have this competition, who gets them all first, and it just keeps them engaged. For the top thing, it's a scavenger hunt. So I'm pretty sure that was during Nature Week. So giving them just colors is something just to engage them with, and like they can do this on their own time. And they can just go have fun with it, bring back the things they find. And they just get so excited. They find rocks, and the excitement is so great over something so simple. And these are just things that we throw in the bag. Like sometimes it's like the scavenger hunt. We'll mention it during the an hour thing, but it's just kind of something they just go do on their own time. So they have more activities to get them excited for the next day. They get to bring stuff in. And it's great. And then, so for fingerprints, that was for detective week. So they had to find Griff all week. But the fingerprints were cool because I got to do them with them. We gave them tape, pencil, and paper, and that's all you need. And then this sliding card, and they got to do it to their parents. They got to do it to their friends, like whoever they are with, their siblings, and they loved it. So all you do is you scratch really hard on a piece of paper with a pencil. You rub your finger in it, make it have lead all over it, put a piece of tape on it, and then peel off the tape, and you stick it on, and that's your it's your fingerprint. Which it was just so simple, and we did it step by step with the kids, and they loved it. They were like, "This is so cool! Like this is my ID!" Like they were learning all about it, and they loved it, and they were able to do with their parents and their siblings, and they were so happy to be able to do something like the theme. And we like to do this stuff because it's something they can do with their family and not just with us, but we can also do it together. So like doing the Catch Them All together was great. And then they would do it with their siblings. It's something that can happen all the time, which was just a really positive thing. Yeah, can we go to the next one, Kev? So this is my last slide. So highlights. So engagement is obviously so key, and just wanting the kids want to be there, which is awesome. But you also have to want to be there for them to reciprocate that. Also creating a connection. I mean, I found I really do create a connection, like just by starting off with that game where they're telling me something about them. I already have something like, if I see they're not into it, I can kind of maybe relate something to that, and hopefully kind of grasp their attention and try to wheel them back into participating. I always ask their opinion. At the end of the day, we'll go through a list of all the things we did, like kind of like a debrief, like what did you like, what did you not like, just a thumbs up, thumbs down. They'll give me a rosebud and a thorn. Just getting their feedback is so important because I want them to want to be there and us to do the things that they want to do. They also love telling stories, so be careful. You might have to cut off some stories though, just like Kevin. Just he'll keep going. So I just want to make the kids not feel scared, and I think that's the most important thing, making them feel it's a safe environment and them want to be there. Like this, in these pictures, you can see how excited the kids are. We made candles, we made ice cream, we made for our Women Empowerment Week. You can see in the bottom right corner, we painted canvases, and it's the I am, and put a mirror in the middle, and they got to look at themselves and say, I am beautiful, I am strong, I am, and they got to just feel that, what we want them to feel, like the positive vibes and just everything. So it was really awesome to see how excited they get. And I also just want them to want to come to Griffin activity camps, because it's just a sense of community, and I always want to make everyone feel like they're part of the Griffin family. And I think as long as you have that enthusiasm and engagement and you create that connection, kids will love your guys' camps. So I really hope they all go well for you guys. I'm going to pass this over to Alex now.
Awesome. Alrighty. Hey guys. So I'm gonna be talking about the booklets that I made. This kind of happened on a fluke. I wasn't making very in-depth booklets for my kids, but when I was growing up, I was always that kid in camp that would be done early. I would finish all my things way too quickly, and then I would just be sitting around and I would be bored and upset that I had nothing to do. So I came up with these booklets for my kids. I themed them for every single week. So I printed off a version of it. I themed them for every single week so that every day had a different booklet. So along with their little bags that they would take out with all the activities of the day, they would have their entire booklet, and it literally has inside of it, apparently I printed it off upside down on the inside, but it has the goals for the day. So at the top, you can kind of see it's a little bit small, but the goals, we were making paracord bracelets with them on the first day. And then we did a stargazing activity too. And then I had an extra little section that I wanted the kids to do. They could do it if they finished their things early during our sessions together, or afterwards, if they ever got bored during the day and wanted something fun to do, they had some extra little things. So I came up with daily challenges that they could try to do. It was super fun. I actually found some of them pretty challenging, and my kids got them, and that hurt my feelings a lot because I'm in my 4th year of biomedical engineering and my kids are smarter than me. So that was a little tough to take, but that's how much they wanted to do this. They were working so hard to get these challenges done because they loved them so much. Just some examples of ones that I did, especially on this one, was you find a mystery word. So there is a specific letter that was bolded in a series of words, and you have to switch that letter to make a word again. It has to still be a word across, and then it'll actually make a word down, and it was themed to what we were doing. So for this one, it was obviously our outdoor skills one, so it had something to do with outside. And it actually spelled nature. It was pretty cool. The kids were very excited. Pretty much all of them got it. Actually, no, all of them got it. My kids were good at this stuff. The next thing I did was rebus puzzles. I love rebus puzzles, and I think everyone should use them, especially even with work colleagues, as a little icebreaker challenge for everyone. They're so fun. So how a rebus puzzle works is it's literally just a bunch of pictures or words or scrambled things together, and it has another meaning out of it. So the first one that I had there is horrible spellings of the word trail and multiples of them. So the answer for that one would be trail mix. Kids got that. They were pretty good at it. And then once you get it, you're like, oh my gosh, that makes sense now. That's trail mix. I get it. And then the next one was a little bit easier. We had the I, the B, and the leaf in the middle of a U. And it's I believe in you. Again, you got to use that brain a little bit. Sometimes it can get confusing. My favorite one, though, is the last one. So it's D. It's see the bigger picture. Not a lot of kids got that, but they had a super fun time, and they came up with very obscure things that I wanted to say were right too. Like, it was crazy, the ideas. I can't even remember some of them, but they just loved them. And then on the back of it, I gave them like a little coloring section to do. And I asked them to use their favorite colors, and then we all compared them to see like if anyone had favorite colors. And there was a lot of my kids who like blue. That almost like all of these were blue and green. And one of them actually just drew in like browns and grays. And I relate so much to that child. And then a list of your 4 favorite outdoor activities. So I love the outdoors. I've been a rock climbing instructor. I've camped my whole life. I've fished my whole life. That's my favorite thing. So that's why I was so excited to do like an outdoor adventures crew with my kids. They absolutely loved that. Inside this one, when I was talking about the stargazing, I actually made them other booklets because I wanted them to have something that they could do more often throughout the day or even throughout the week. So I made them little stargazing booklets. They can put their name at the bottom. I told them they could decorate them however they wanted to, but this is something that they could keep. So it had multiple pages inside it of the outline where you can sketch the constellation that you see. Then you have to look up the name of it because most of the kids didn't know them off the top of their head. So you had to look up the name, the time you saw it, and the location you saw it. So if you ever went camping, you could bring this fun book with them, I told them, and you can write it down. And if you notice a different constellation somewhere, maybe we look into that. And then they actually learn more about like how the world actually revolves around the sun and those kinds of things. So that was cool when some of the kids were looking that up and they're like, wait, not everyone sees the same stars at night? And I was like, no, they don't. It's pretty cool how if you travel to the complete opposite side, you'll see a whole different sky. And they loved these. Like, would come back with maybe 1 or 2 that they found, and they were so excited. And some of the kids even like went through all of the pages that we gave them, and there was a good amount in there, and then they wanted more. So that's always a great idea too. If you're thinking of ways to engage the kids more throughout the week, it doesn't have to be a one-day project. It can be something that they keep working on even until the entire end of your session. Then the other little booklet I made them was a tree and plant identification booklet. So this was the same type of idea. So you had the type of plant, you sketched it, and then you could actually use the leaf. You could do the leaf imprint. So I showed them how to do that. You just take the leaf, slip it under the page, and then scribble over it with like a crayon or a pencil, anything like that, and it would work. And a lot of the kids noticed that they were finding the same kind of trees, especially when they went to the same areas. We have the Arboretum at our university, so a lot of the kids went there to do that. And they all came back with very similar trees because they said that those ones had pretty colors and they liked them. So that's a super fun one for kids as well. The part that they liked the most about these booklets was we took them up afterwards. So like we went over everything that was in these every single day. The next day we would go over all the answers. We would take about 10 minutes to do. But yeah, we would go over everything. The template, like this was one example that I made. I made each individual one for every single day, for every single camp I did. It was super easy once you make the template for it. Mine, I had done something like this similar before, so I had an idea of what I wanted to do. But once you have your main pictures on the front with your wording, the only thing you'll need to switch is the date. And then especially the activities inside, you're always going to have your goals at the top. You're always going to have your daily challenges. They just switch. So those stay there. And all you do is you change the activities within it. Yeah, and then they got obviously to select when they wanted to do stuff. They weren't forced at a specific time, like at 5 o'clock, you have to finish your coloring. No, do it whenever you want to. If you want to wake up tomorrow and scribble it really, really quickly before we get onto the call, I'm good with that. I just hope that they enjoyed what they were doing, and that was the most important part of it. But it did take a lot of planning to get the first outline of this. This wasn't a 20-minute ordeal. My first draft probably took me about 3 hours. I am a little bit of a perfectionist though, so that obviously played a role in it. but I like things to look really pretty, and my kids appreciated the effort so much. Every single day, they were so excited to open these up and to see what they were doing. Kevin, I think I have one more slide, right? Yeah. So yeah, that was just wrapping up what I talked about. So they get to take up the booklets at the end of or at the beginning of the next day, which was really fun. The Friday ones, I usually didn't have ones that was like answers to take up, just because I wanted them to do more independent things. And then obviously I didn't want to leave them hanging on the edge without any answers to the stuff that I gave them. So I tried to make the ending ones just like more fun things like word searches, coloring sheets, making your own optical illusion, those kinds of things. So again, you have to be pretty creative, like Burke was saying, when you're thinking of things to put in these, because kids will notice if you copy stuff. They're very observant on those kinds of things. So you always have to have a different idea, and you always have to implement it the best way possible. Yeah, it for sure made a big impact on these kids. They were so excited to have these booklets to take with them wherever they went. We would get messages about, especially during our outdoor adventures one, about the kids sitting in the tents that they made outside, looking at the stars and their stargazing book in their hand, getting all excited about it. And that's what this is about. It's about making these kids feel special and feel welcomed and feel a part of what we're doing. And I was so proud to be a part of a group that made that happen for so many kids this summer in a time of uncertainty. It was scary, like COVID was scary, and there was a lot of kids who were very scared, but that was a time where they didn't have to focus on any of that. It was just fun, 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 games, 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 and a lot of smiling, happy people. So yeah, that was just a little bit about what I did.
All right, so what I'll do now is I just we're getting close to the wrapping up here. And as you can see is a couple of things that I just wanted to also point out that we have here, because I have some of the supplies here that we did. Sometimes, as Burke mentioned about our trivias and stuff like that, we would do like multiple choice, but instead of kids using the chat to do it, we gave them like popsicle sticks and they had stickers. So then they would hold it up to the camera for whatever they were guessing. Right? So it's like, again, their body is moving. They're not just staring at a screen, those kinds of different things like this. This is because we just did a Halloween one not too long ago. But you can see one of our activities here that Alex did too was they had pots, and then they actually then grew plants in them and did all that stuff. So they painted it, and then they're growing their own things in those ways. You know, Play-Doh was a very key way to have them building things and doing those kinds of things. Burke we ordered little gliders, and the kids were great. Like they measured how far they were throwing their planes and doing those kinds of things. So it was all these kinds of interactive things that really engaged them and got them excited and kind of a little different. The biggest thing is that the children, the campers were busy all day long. And that was really what was a key thing. Since we've done this though, we've now actually continued this into the fall. We've run virtual PD day programs, and we actually on our PD days now, because they're 1 days, we actually have a morning time slot, and then they have the same idea that Alex and Burke were talking. They have some activities they'll do around their lunchtime, and then they come back for another hour, and it's been amazing. For one of the things I want to say about the programs, even in the summertime, is at no time did we ever have kids leave during our program. We never had a child turn it off or walk away. And we always had the waiting room open 15 minutes before the actual program, because we would do little things, activities, have a breakout room open. And one thing we did is invite each child into the program one by one. Number one, it helped us to ensure that that was the right person. And number two, is it gave them that undivided attention. So we could actually have a conversation with that child, kind of like you would in person. We kept that kind of feel to it. And they were always like, I would start the login. I would even log in half an hour before. And there's some kids that were already in the waiting room, half an hour before we're even doing it, because they were just anticipating it. And it's just mind boggling. And like, I just did a program on Friday based on this, and we actually, the kids on it actually stayed on. It was supposed to end at 11:30, and they stayed on until it was 11:45 before we realized. One kid said, "I'm hungry. Wait, mom's calling me for lunch." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's lunchtime." So that's how engaged they are through these kinds of things. Like, we're usually standing up, doing all these kinds of things too. We're not sitting down. We're really engaged. And we're doing this with virtual birthday parties now too. So the whole idea, the philosophy has been really a great thing. So one of the things I want to do before asking some questions for people is I just want everyone to do this action. We have some thumb balls here, but I'm going to hold this up. And one of the things is that we don't just always use PowerPoint, as you can see with like how we were saying supplies and that, because it's always the same then, right? So it's like we're using things. So what I want you all to do is I want everyone to do this for each other here. Let me just hold it up here. Read what I'm holding there. So this all set. Yes, that's perfect. Thank you, Cody, for leading it. Everyone clap there and then stand, take a bow. All right. On behalf of Alex and myself and Burke and Lizzie, who's not here with us, we just want to say thank you, allowing us to share our experience. Hopefully it helps you out moving forward. I will say though, the idea, conceptual kind of thing, kind of came in a need that we needed something. But Burke and Alex and Lizzie made it into something now that we are actually keeping, even when we go in person and doing activities, because we know that we can do a great thing for kids and keep them engaged and doing those kinds of things because of their hard work too. So yeah, let's open it up for questions. Feel free to just shout it out and doing things. Kate, how long did you run camp each day? How many hours? Burke, Alex, do you want to take it or? Go ahead.
I can. So for the younger ages, we usually did 45 minutes to an hour just in one day. And then we did it 5 days a week. And that was just that 1 week of camp. But for the older kids, like Alex, I think you guys ended up going like an hour and a half. And even with our CIT and leadership programs, we were able to do 2-3 hours just with the older kids. But with juniors, I really kept it shorter because they just lose their patience and they just don't want to be sitting on the screen all day. So even though we're keeping them engaged, it can only be so long. But then I think we really maximize that time together. So yeah.
Any other questions that anyone has, or comments, or anything that you're curious about? There's a lot of, like Burke said, the wheel of names, free resource. There's a lot of things out there that you can use to your advantage that are free. You don't have to keep buying everything or anything like that. The money that we used all went towards their kits. That was the biggest thing, is making sure that kit was substantial. And a lot of times we didn't even get through all the activities that were in it to do that. Question here, how do you get kids, how do you get kids when their mics are all on and everyone is talking to listen for a moment? That's a great one. Burke, Alex, your experience with kids talking all at once?
Go ahead, Alex.
This is why I love Zoom. Because when the kids turn their mics on, you can do this fancy thing called mute them. I didn't like having my kids muted all the time. Like, I wanted them talking to each other. So there was a discussion we had that if we start talking out and if we start getting really loud, I have the power to make everyone shush. But most of the time, if you explain it to the kids, like, hey, we all can't be talking at the same time, we need to be respectful. I always use the little like emojis if people wanted to talk, so they could put like the hand up, or like I don't even care if it was clapping hands. They could do one of those things to tell me that they had a question. And then if they were good with something or not good with something, they would give me like the thumbs up, thumbs down ones too. So that's a super great way that you don't have to have them all yelling like, yeah, I got it. I'm good. Like, I think I can do this at you when there's like 12 of them or 14 of them. And that way they're still interacting with you though. And then you can see like, oh yeah, Burke said she's fine. She gave me a thumbs up. Awesome. Thanks, Burke. Like that kind of thing. That's what I noticed. But I love Zoom. It was very helpful.
Just to actually add to that, so for my juniors, they don't really know, like they're okay at muting and unmuting themselves. They are kind of bad at it. So I can't always mute them because they don't know how to unmute themselves, and I had to request it. I can't actually do it for them. So in that moment, I just had to really like show them. And instead, I will mute them and tell them to hold their space bar when they want to talk. That was something that helped because I'm like, just touch the big giant bar as you're speaking. So when I mute, you hold the space bar, it unmutes temporarily, and then when you release it, it mute yourself. Kids like that a lot, which was kind of handy as well.
Awesome. A question here. How many staff did you have in each camper group? Backup tech support. Great question, Megan. Thank you. The first thing is also, I just wanted to about us having the engagement part too. We kept our registrations so we could see everyone on one screen when we did a gallery view. So we're not searching. So I could see everyone. So we didn't have to keep searching around or anything like that. That was a key element. That was our max capacity with staff, everyone included. That's what it was going to be. We weren't going to play around with that at all because we knew that's how we could keep everyone engaged. For our programs themselves, though, so that would be, we actually had 2 people on each program. And we did record them for, not for marketing, and we did have parents understand that. We recorded it in case there was anything, said or anything like that. We did lock the Zoom account once everyone entered the account. So once everyone was into the program, we had locked it so we couldn't have any Zoom bombers in there. But we did all those kinds of things. And really what it was is typically is that it would be Burke and Alex really running and driving the bus. And then I was more the tech support. I'd be taking some photos, making sure, checking in, answering calls if a parent, all that kind of stuff. I was that behind the scenes kind of person there, instead of us trying to talk all the time and stuff. And it's nice to have someone to play off of also. Like Burke and I can play, like we could play off of each other when we were doing programs and that too, and the kids enjoyed that too. Anything else? Feel free to, you can type it, you can yell it, whatever you want.
All right, well, if there's no more questions then, I want to say thank you very much, Burke, Alex, Kevin. That was an awesome presentation. Really strong way to get started for this conference. It's getting us up and going in the morning. So thank you very much for that. So yeah, big round of applause. You guys can do the emojis if you want. So our next session will be happening shortly as well. You just have to go to the next Zoom link if you guys are interested. It is a trivia social, so it'll be a lot, doing different questions and getting to know each other a little bit as well. So hopefully I can see you all there. Thank you very much again, everyone. Take care.
Thank you, Ross. Thanks so much.
Thank you. That was awesome. Super,
That was
super
really
awesome.
good.
I think Burke got off already. She signed up.
Yeah, Burke abandoned ship as fast as she could.
Probably like, oh, that was done.
Yeah, thank you guys so much
Yeah.
for having us. Like, we were super excited to do this because we know how well our program worked, and sometimes other people are scared to kind of take that step. So it was really nice to be able to share our knowledge that we gained this summer.
Oh, absolutely. We're
Yeah.
super excited to see you guys put forth a proposal as well. And it was great, having some, it being an international thing, having some Canadian representation is really good. So thank you.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
Thanks so much,
You
guys.
too.
Okay.
Thanks. Okay. All right.
Alrighty, stop this recording.